You are not alone. I am here with you. Though we're far apart, you're always in my heart. You are not alone. What's up, CherishingFlo fam? Welcome back to my channel. We're all about love, positivity, being a girl boss, and everything in that vicinity. In today's video, I am doing another Sunday story time about my first experience with racism. If you're new to this channel, then go ahead and subscribe and turn the notification bell so you don't miss any future girl boss videos. If you're not new to this channel, then welcome back. Thank you for being here. Thank you for loving me as much as I love you. And now let's just get into the story time. So basically, I went to this little school called Hancock High School or something like that, and it was in this little hick town called Hancock, Maryland, when I lived up north with my family. And I didn't really realize, I was the only black girl in the entire high school, like literally the entire high school. But it was a small high school. It was a small town, only high school in the town. There was only one middle school. The middle school and the high school were combined, like it was that small. And I didn't mind the school. It was small, but I'm not a friendly person. I don't like a lot of people. But the problem with going to a small school when you're the only girl that's different is that it gets you a lot of undue attention. But I didn't really realize that a lot of the attention I was getting was because I was black until everybody tried to put me and the other black guy who went to the school together. Mind you, I've had lots of racist experiences in my life, but I never thought about the fact that they were racist because I was really, really young and I wasn't paying attention to my surroundings. So when I was in 5th grade, I went to an all-white school and I experienced a lot of racism there, but I never really noticed that it was racism. Like, the fact that it was because I was black isn't what crossed my mind. It's how you know racism is taught. It's not something that you just naturally are born with. So I'm in high school. This is my sophomore year. I was only at that school for a semester. And I didn't realize that things were happening because I was black until people started trying to put me with the other black guy at the high school. And I feel like he also was wanting to date me because I was the only other black girl in the school. And he did deal with a lot of racism himself because before I got there, he was the only black kid in the entire school, period. So, and he was tall, so there was a whole lot of old black tall guy who plays basketball type stuff. And I was pretty good at basketball naturally. However, I had no desire to be in sports. But of course, everybody was like, oh yeah, you'd be the star of the team. And I was like, why would I be the star of the team? You literally only see me sitting here making shots. Like, you don't know if I'm good or not. Like, there's more to basketball than shooting. So anyway, all of that was racist too, but that wasn't like my first real racist, like, oh wow, that was racist AF experience. I had a lot of little things here, like this little white girl who's all like, oh my God, your hair is so different. How do you get it all kinky? This racist experience happened when I had a friend, one of the first people that I actually became really cool friends with. Most of them, they were interested in me because I was different. They talked to me, whatever. I had people that I spoke with, but I didn't really consider most of them friends. They were just, the people that were at the school that I went to. And I wasn't really a very friendly person, honestly, like if I'm being 100% honest. And this particular night, I was hanging out with this girl. And I went to spend the night over one of my white friends' houses for the weekend. She told her parents that a girl was coming over to spend the night. We'll call her Ashlyn. And she was really pretty. I really liked her. We got along really well. And, we were very close throughout the semester. She was like the only person. Well, there was a couple people. There was also Jessica and there was Jolene and other people that I really liked. But she was probably one of the closest to me. So when I went over to her house that night for the weekend, mind you, this is a very small town, but I never really considered the fact that I was the only black girl there. Like, that never really crossed my mind. I didn't really care. It's not something, even though I was aware, because, you're surrounded by white people, you notice. But I wasn't upset about it in any way. So while I was over at her house, we were like, oh, let's walk to town and just walk around or whatever, because she lived closer to like the inner city part of the thing, basically where all the stores and stuff and things were. So we walked down there and we walked into this little store that has a Confederate flag on the outside of it. And then when we walked in, there's Confederate flags just everywhere. There's like 50,000 Confederate flags in this little store. And, you know, I noticed, but I don't think anything of it. I'm just like, okay, that's weird. So I walk in, and this white dude is like looking at me from behind the counter in the cash register. I'm thinking, you know, we're teenagers, and, you know, teenagers are stupid. And so he's probably just keeping an eye on both of us. And then like this 2 or 3 white dudes who I guess like came from outside, they all walked in and they looked at us. And next, I wasn't paying attention to what happened in between time. I know that we were just looking at random stuff, laughing at all the funny stuff on the mugs and laughing at, because some of the stuff was like inappropriate and childish. And so we're laughing, we're talking. And then I look over and I realized that the group of white men had hurdled together and were like looking at us. And I looked at my friend and I was like, Ashlyn, why are they staring at us? And then she looked for a long time and then she rolled her eyes and then she started to get like misty eyed, like she was going to cry. And I was like, what's wrong with you? And she's like, I'm so sorry, Ricky. She was like, I don't know why people are like that in this town. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like what? She was like, they're watching us. And the one guy just said, oh, she's probably going to steal something, the little N-word. And I was I immediately turned around and looked at them with the most shocked and disgusted look. I was like, nigga, I just came in. I didn't even know what the store was. Like, I was so shocked because, first of all, nobody had ever called me the N-word before. And I had never experienced anything like that. And so I'm looking at her like, what? And so then the guy is like, he was like, hey. And so we look and he's like, do y'all need anything? Are y'all going to buy something? Do you have money? And I was like, yes, I have money. I don't know if I want to buy anything yet. He's like, well, if you don't know if you want to buy anything, little girl, then you should probably leave. And the other dudes were like looking at me like they was like having his back or whatever, like they was little security guards. I'm like 15. So I'm looking and I see the hick men sitting over there in the corner looking at me. So I'm like, let me go before I end up on somebody's tree. I walk out and Ashlyn's behind me. She's crying. I didn't even realize she was crying until we were outside of the store. And she's like, I just don't understand why people are like that. You're so beautiful and so wonderful and people just treat you so. And I was like, people don't treat me so anything. This is my first time ever experiencing some ignorant stuff like that. And she was like, I hope that you know my father does not. And I was like, hold up, back up. Your father? Apparently one of those men was her father. One of the ones that wasn't saying anything. And I was like, so your dad's racist? And she was like, he just doesn't understand people that are different. He's been here his whole life and da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, interesting. And the only reason I found this interesting was because, one, her mother and her father were divorced. So her mother was who I was staying with. That's who she lived with. And that's who I was staying with. But so I didn't meet her father when I got to their house. And they never mentioned her father. But apparently he doesn't live far away. He still lives in the town, whatever. They're just divorced. And so we get back to her house. And me and her mom are talking, laughing, chopping it up. And this is like hours later. There's a big bang on the door. And I'm like, and we're just like, oh, what is that? Like immediately Ashlyn's like, I wasn't expecting anybody. And the mom was like, me neither. So then she goes to the door and he comes in and her father comes in really quickly. Like, I mean, she opens the door. He just storms in and he's like, move. And we'll call the mom Linda because he said her name. He was like, move, Linda. And she was like, what are you doing here? No. You can't just walk in my house. This is my house. And da-da-da-da-da. If you want to see her, you have to call and you have your visitation and y'all see each other all the time. And, you know, she's yelling. And he walks in and he was like, I knew that little N-word was here. And I was like, it's funny because when you see like racism on TV and when you see it, like you see the black person like crying or getting angry or emotional, but I was amused. I wasn't scared. I was amused. Like I was just like, I looked at Ashton and I was like, he just called me that. And she, because nobody has ever, I'm like shooketh. Like I was like, he just called me the N-word. Like, what is this? Like, is this a movie? Like, what is happening? Like, I was so confused because I'm from Alabama. Like, you would think that my most racist experiences would have happened in Alabama, but no, it happened in Hancock, Maryland. And I was like, I didn't say anything. I'm sitting on the stool eating the egg, or I don't remember. I was eating something. It was delicious, whatever it was. I remember I had like seconds and thirds. But I'm sitting there and she was like, don't you call her that. You're not going to use that kind of language in here. It's that intolerability that makes you a horrible influence for your daughter, and she doesn't see color. Like, she's going into, like, then the mom is crying and she's like, she doesn't even see color and you should be ashamed of yourself and da-da-da-da-da. She was like, that girl is a sweet girl. And it was great, honestly. Like, the mother was the sweetest, most beautiful thing. And she was very passionate about this. Like, she's crying and she's hysterical. And he was like, you better get her out of here with my daughter. I don't want her sharing any stuff with her. I don't want her using the same bathroom as that girl. And yes, and the country accent is accurate because he had this country accent. And the daughter was like, Dad, I can hang out with whoever I want to. This is my best friend. And she called me her best friend. I was like, oh, we're best friend. You know, I'm just like, I'm listening to the mom and I'm listening to her because I was like, this is why I still have faith in people, because not all white people, even in an environment where they don't see a lot of people like me, they don't allow ignorant people. Ashlyn didn't allow ignorant people like her father to allow her to feel any type of way about being friends with someone like me. And it's because of her beautiful mother, who has a good spirit and a good heart and doesn't care about whether or not I'm black, brown, white, yellow, or tan. It just doesn't matter. And so I'm sitting there just warmed up, like, by the fact that they're defending me so hard, despite the fact that I'm not even upset or offended. Both of them are crying. And I'm just sitting there just like, this was some crazy. Like, I'm in shock. And he's like, little girl, how did you get here? Did you drive or did you steal a car? And I was like, what are you talking about? I said, sir, I'm 15. I don't even have a permit. I don't know how to steal a car. I don't know how to steal a car. And she's like, if you don't leave right now, I'm going to call the police. I'm going to have you arrested for trespassing and for threatening a minor. She added that in there. And he was like, I should call the police. You're allowing ingrates into this house. And he went on and on and on for a little while. And then finally, Ashlyn said something along the lines of, if you don't leave right now, I'll never talk to you again. And he kind of like stopped for a second and looked at her. He was like, you would choose this little N-word over me? And she was like, I would choose a box over what I'm seeing right now. Or she said I would choose something inanimate, like a rock, over what I'm seeing right now, or something like that. And he was like, and then he looked at me and he looked like he was going to walk towards me. And then I started to be like, all right now. And the first thing I thought, and then after that, he went ahead and left. Next thing I know, I'm being flooded with apologies and tears. And I'm kind of just like in shock still. And then after a few minutes, I was like, I want to call my mom. And I was like, I want to call my mom and let her know what just happened. But I ended up deciding not to, because I wasn't really sure how my mom was going to take it. This is around the time when I was discovering that my mom had a lot more attitude and was a lot more defensive over her children than I thought she was. So I was like, yeah, I don't want to call my mom. And then she ended up starting a whole race war and we like the only black people in the whole town. So I was like, I didn't want to call my mom and piss her off or make her scared for me or make her try to make me leave, because I was having a really good time. And so I was like, I just won't tell my mom. Come to find out, like, this isn't a part of the story, but fun fact, I found out that my little sister was also dealing with a lot of racism at her school because she was the only black girl in an elementary school. And a lot of those white kids' grandparents were like evil, basically. Somebody even said they wish she would die or something, or she would kill that little black girl. Like, I was like, and she never told anybody either, or she didn't tell us. She never told me, she never told my mom, and we're all just like, and it's a good thing. Like, she kind of made I wish she had told me, but also I understand what she didn't, because who I was, it would have got real black. And then it would have got real what they consider to be black, because, I would have got real ignorant and real ghetto real fast if I found out that some old lady was still threatening my sister with death threats. I would have been at that elementary school and I would have snatched that old lady by her turkey neck. And then it would have been some real stuff, because I will let somebody disrespect me all day. Or in those kind of situations, especially back then, somebody could come at me all day and I wouldn't say anything. But if you come for my sisters, anybody who knows me knows that I play about a lot of things. But I don't play about none of my siblings. I have 3 sisters and a brother. Nobody can lay hands on them and me not be ready to fight myself. I don't care if you're 52 or 2 years old. I will bust you upside your head if you're messing with my sibling. That whole town, it was a mess. I didn't actually deal with as much racism as she did. I think this is like really the only real like blatantly racist situation that I dealt with while there. Actually, one of the only blatantly racist situations, the most blatant and disrespectful, all in your face type racism that I've ever experienced in my life. So now I really can't say anything because I don't have any white friends. Like, I don't hang out with any white people. Not intentionally. It just, I haven't met no... That's not true. Actually, I do have a girl who I'm friends with, who's another entrepreneur who's white. But other than that, like, I don't find myself in the environment of white people often. So yeah, that was my racist experience. It was something else, right? Like, it was crazy. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, then go ahead and give it a thumbs up and comment in the comment section down below. If you're new to this channel, then go ahead and subscribe if you have not already. If you have made it to this point in the video, then leave the purse emoji in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.